We are, waiting a minute, just making sure we are live. Yes, we are. We are back. The show is back on. The conversation is back on. We are here. You already know what the topic is going to be. Y'all voted for the topic. We're going to get into this today, this Friday afternoon. Hope everybody's had a great week. We're looking forward to a fantastic weekend. As you are coming in, shout yourself out in the comment section and let's get to it. As you are coming in, shout yourself out in the comment section. Facebook. I got Facebook over here on my left. I got Instagram Live over here on my right. So as y'all checking in, again, shout yourself out, make yourself known. I'll shout a couple people out, then we're going to get right into this material. We want to make sure we get everything in here and we ain't going to waste no time. So again, hope everybody's having a great Friday wherever you at. Hope the weather's beautiful wherever you happen to be. If you're in the USA, we're still in the summertime. We're getting we still got another 3 weeks of summer, officially, technically. So I know some of y'all back in school. Shout out to everybody who's back in school. As y'all are checking in, Andy from Los Angeles, I think you're the first one. To check in. To say you first one with the comment. So shout out to Andy from LA, first one with the comment. As y'all are coming in, we about to get started. We getting started in like 10 seconds. I ain't waiting for nobody else. Estonia and Russia is in the house. Shout out to Estonia. We got Brooklyn in the house. Shout out to Brooklyn, man. Shout out to Flatbush. Shout out to Bed-Stuy. Shout out to Washington Heights. Shout out to Brooklyn. So as y'all checking in, for those of y'all don't know me, shout out to Lala checking in from LA. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete. I'm the author of 27 books. Yes, 27 books. I've done 4 TED Talks. I've created more content online in the last 15 years than any human being alive. I've created over 15,000 pieces of content. That's a couple thousand of these live streams, 7,000 YouTube videos, 6,000 articles, damn near 2,000 audio masterclasses. And what we're here to talk about here today is not any of that. But today we are going to talk about the topic that y'all voted for. So if you've been following my story today, I put this up as a poll for everybody to vote. What y'all want me to talk about today, and it was 2 topics. One of them was, what's the plan for what Black Lives Matter / NBA, woke NBA players, the woke NBA, we ain't even got to say NBA players, the whole NBA, what they should do if I was going to offer them a plan, because yesterday I offered some critiques of what they're doing, and then, because people were asking me that, and the other option was talking about mental health amidst the civil unrest that's going on right now. How do you maintain your mental health, not go crazy, not running the walls, given all the civil unrest that's going on right now? So mental health won the vote. I think it was like 70% to 30%, something like that, something around that number. So I may still talk about the BLM plan. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll see. I like to start doing a vote every day just to give people some say, to make this a little bit more democratic, at least between the options that I'm giving you as what we'll talk about every day. So first of all, up front, I got to give credit to Darby, who was watching a live yesterday, and after the live, she had sent me a DM, and she was asking me this very question. Like, she was saying, well, because she says she's mixed race, and she has people that she's cool with who get mad at her because she won't go, one side or the other side in this whole civil conversation about race. And then she has friends who are black, and she feels worried for her friends because she feels like stuff might happen to them, or she might, I don't know, maybe she's talking about her friends who are white. She's worried stuff might happen to them if they won't go all in on the BLM or whatever the situation is. So since she asked this question, and I am who I am, I'm a content creator, when she asked the question, I thought to myself, you know what, that is actually a good topic. And I said, first of all, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that in depth, or write about it in depth. So here we are talking about it here today. I wasn't sure people would even be interested in such a topic. And honestly, I wouldn't have even been thinking about nothing like that. But since she asked the question, and this is why I stay open-minded, I keep an open door between me and you individuals, people who check me online. So because she suggested that and I was listening, now we got this topic right here. So whether for this conversation we having right here, it doesn't matter which group you're a part of, whether you are a supporter or you're against MAGA, BLM, All Lives Matter, black, white, it does not matter. You're a cop, you hate cops, whatever you think it is, this is for everybody in this, because mental health applies to everyone in the world, right? So whether you are a minority who feels marginalized, you feel targeted and in danger, you're a white person who's pissed off that people aren't seeing the bigger picture, whatever that bigger picture may be, whether you're a MAGA supporter who's you want Trump to get reelected and you feel like you're being attacked for your political views, or you feel like you can't even share your political views because somebody's going to beat you up if you say you support Donald Trump, or you're anyone who's in between any of these levels, understand this conversation we about to have here today is for you. Mozart Gate, what's going on? Coming in, letting people know what it's about to be. Definitely buckle up. So what we're going to talk about here today is how you will stay sane through all of this stuff that we got going on. And I want y'all to understand something up front. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm not talking about your mental health. I'm talking about this whole situation of all this stuff going on. If you think it's bad now, or you think it's crazy now, or you think it's out of control now, or it's bothering you now, I want you to understand that whatever it is that's bothering you, there's going to be more of it, at least for the next 6 months. Yes, you heard me correctly. Let's say 5 months. At least for the next 5 months, there's going to be more of it. So we all know that the presidential election is coming up in early November. So we could just write September and October off the calendars. All right, we already know it's going to get, if y'all think it's ridiculous right now, especially the political stuff, and Black Lives Matter is a political point nowadays because the left has decided to use it, and you got people who have strongly advocated for Democrats who are now on the BLM side, damn near all of them. So that is a political thing now. So if you think this political stuff is annoying, or it bothers you, or you're excited about it, or you like it, or you're tired of hearing of it, whatever you feel about it, understand there's going to be more of it happening over the next 60 days. It's going to be crazy the next 60 days. September and October is going to get nasty. I'm just letting y'all know that up front. If y'all thought it was nasty in 2016 when Hillary against Trump, imagine what they're going to do this year. And imagine if there's another death. What if, God forbid, another person of color dies at the hands or from the gun of a police officer in the next 60 days? You kidding me? So this is only going to get worse. Then the election is going to happen. Let me tell you what's going to happen when the election occurs. If Donald Trump wins the election, all these BLM people, all the people who are out protesting / rioting right now, whichever part they're part of, they out there doing something. So with the people that's out in the streets doing stuff now, some of them are black, some of them are even white, they're going to go even crazier because they're mad that Trump won the election. And then Trump, having won the election, he's going to be bolstered by that. He's going to send National Guards everywhere, and it's going to get ugly, and there will be bodies in the street if that ends up happening. If Trump wins, there will be bodies in the street because people ain't going in the house. They're going to be mad, and they're going to be out there, and Trump's not going to have that shit, and it's going to get ugly if he wins. If Trump loses, if Joe Biden wins the election, I think the people who are supporters of Trump, who have come out publicly and supported Trump, whether they're known people or unknown individuals, they're going to get attacked by the people who are anti-Trump. They're like, yeah, now you got Trump laws. Now you ain't got any power. Now we're going to beat you up in the street. And this is happening. People getting beat up in the street right now for not doing anything. They're not even saying nothing. They just won't say Black Lives Matter or they're not part of the protest. So they getting beat up just for being white, walking down the street. There's videos of this stuff if you get on social media enough to see it. But maybe you shouldn't do that. All right, don't go look for it. Just take my word for it. So either way, when the election happens in early November, the whole month of November, forget about it. It is going to be ugly. Then the whole month of December is going to bleed into December. That's going to be ugly as well, especially if COVID keeps things shut down. But maybe COVID will open things up that might actually be worse for this particular situation. Then the president, whoever the president is, let's say in mid to late January, that's when, if Biden wins, that's when he gets sworn in. So Trump is still president for those next 60 days or whatever it's going to be. If he loses, I think something ugly is going to happen there. If he wins, then something's ugly is going to happen either way. So it's going to be ugly, and that's not going to calm down until sometime around Valentine's Day of 2021. All right, y'all not even thinking about Valentine's Day right now. It's August, right? But I'm telling y'all, if y'all think it's ugly now, this ugliness ain't going away till Valentine's Day of next year because of the whole political climate and how charged up people get anything involving Trump. It's not like this in normal elections, but anything involving Trump, people are either charged up for him or charged up against him. And now we got the BLM mixed into that. It's just going to be ugly. So all that being said, I'm going to tell you how to maintain your sanity until the noise dies down, if it dies down. If it does, it'll be Valentine's Day. If it doesn't, this is going to go on forever. So that means you can follow these points that I'm about to give you in perpetuity. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. For those who don't know, I'm going to give you all my points. I'm going to explain my points, what they are, why they are, how you apply them. Then at the end, I'm going to tell you about these publications here. Then I'm going to take questions and I'll recap my points. All right, that's how it's going to go. Any questions, I will take them at the end. So if you post it, I won't get to it till I'm done. Point number one, we're talking here today, how to maintain your mental health amidst all the civil unrest going on. Number one thing you need to do, this is for everybody. This is the first thing that I told Darby when she DM'd me yesterday about mental health amongst the civil unrest. This is what all y'all need to do. Limit your exposure. Number one thing you do, limit your exposure. What do I mean? I mean, stop watching the news every single day, because all the news is designed to do, it used to be designed to inform you. It is no longer designed to inform you. Now the news is designed to influence you. There's a huge difference between informing someone and influencing someone. Informing someone is just letting you know, hey, it's going to rain today. Here's a bill that the president passed. Here's a car accident that happened downtown on 4th Street. That's informing you. That's just letting you know objectively what happened. Influencing you is when people give you the pieces of information that they know are aimed at getting you to think a certain way or believe a certain narrative, or they got a whole bunch of information. They take a certain piece of it out of context and give you just that piece. So because they're trying to get you to feel a certain way. So when something happens with a police officer and a person of color, you get, initially all you get is the piece. You get this little tiny piece taken out of context of what actually happened. Then later on we get the whole story, but it might be months or weeks later before we get the whole story. The news used to give you, if they took something out of context, because maybe they had a time limit, that time constraint, they would still give you objective piece out of context. Nowadays, they don't do that anymore. New York Times doesn't do it. CNN doesn't do it. MSNBC doesn't do it. Fox News doesn't do it. Nobody does it on any side, give you completely objective information. Actually, there are some that do, but they're few and far between, and they're not the most popular. The most popular platforms do not give you objective information anymore. So if I can give you one piece of information that will save your sanity, your mental health for the next 6 months, stop watching the news. The news is not the news anymore. Nowadays, they're basically like journalists. They're columnists giving you their opinion. And there's nothing wrong with somebody sharing their opinion. We are all free to do that. But if I'm getting your opinion, let me know I'm getting your opinion. All right, don't tell me you're giving me objective facts and news, and then within that, you're mixing your opinion into it. That's what the news has become, because they have to compete against the internet. And if they just give you objective facts, that's too boring for people, and they won't have any fans, they won't make any money. And all those people you see on TV with the suits on every day, they wouldn't have jobs if all they did was be objective. So they have no choice, or at least they think they have no choice, but to spin any information they have with their own opinions so they can lean you one direction or another. Here's the problem with watching the news. This is why I'm telling you to stop watching the news. Because, and when I say the news, all right, let me talk about the news, and I'm going to talk about some other media that you've been consuming as well. The reason why I'm telling you to be careful watching the news is because their only job is to keep you emotionally engaged. And if you're emotionally engaged in something, that can lead to cortisol spikes, you got adrenaline spikes, there's all kinds of neurochemicals going through your body that eventually will affect your brain in some way. And it disturbs your rest, it disturbs your sleep, it disturbs your heartbeat, it disturbs your there's a certain word I'm looking for that's missing me right now, but I'll get to it in a minute. It disturbs your equilibrium. That's the word that I'm looking for. When you're taking in all of this stuff that's all designed to get you anxious and emotional and reactive. That is the news's job, is to get you anxious, emotional, and irrational. Any of you who's ever worked in news, or any of you who's ever studied copywriting, you know what the old saying is about news. If it bleeds, it leads. That's what news editors used to say back in the day before we had the internet and newspapers were the main source of information. The editor would tell people, if it bleeds, it leads. That means whatever goes on the front page of the newspaper, you know, when you walk past a newsstand, those of y'all old enough to remember newspapers being at a newsstand, the front page is what gets people to stop and buy the paper. They would put the most sensational thing on the front page that they could and get the most sensational headline, and the whole reason for that was to get you to stop and buy the newspaper. It wasn't because they needed to inform you. They don't care if you're informed or not. Listen, CNN and New York Times and whatever newspaper, New York Post, whoever, they don't care if you have information or if you don't have information. Their paycheck is based on one thing and one thing only. Can they get you to consume their material? Whether that means watching them on TV, clicking on their tweet, or buying their newspaper. That's how they make their money. All right, the New York Times newspaper makes their money when somebody pays for a paper. All right, now whether you get information from that paper, you ain't got to read it. If you buy it and you use it to pick up your dog shit, then they're happy because they sold a newspaper. That's all they care about. They do not care about informing you. So do not think that the news, quote unquote, is giving you information. They are giving you the information they want you to have, not the information that you actually need to objectively make your own formulate your own independent opinion. Now that's the news. But most of you, we gotta give this clearly. Most of you don't even watch the news. All right, most of y'all don't even watch TV. Listen, I don't even own a TV. Okay, I got iPad, I got a couple smartphones. I got laptops. I don't even own a TV. All right, I pay for Wi-Fi, $80 a month. They robbing me for that, but $80 a month I pay for a Wi-Fi connection in my home. Don't own a TV. Many of y'all don't even watch TV unless you're watching like Netflix or YouTube on a smart TV or playing video games. Most of us get all of our material. We get it from social media, right? We get it from our phones and from our phones and whatever platforms that we're on. So I'm also telling you, we're still on point number 1, limiting your exposure. Make sure that you are not looking at every Instagram post, every tweet, and every YouTube video that's talking about all this stuff that's going on. Because if you look at all of it, you're going to go to one extreme or other. You're either going to be wildly entertained because you're seeing a lot of stuff that you want to see or that you think is funny, or what's usually going to happen, because if you look at enough stuff, you're going to see some disturbing things and hear some disturbing things. You're going to become anxious. It's going to raise your internal cortisol levels, and again, it disturbs your equilibrium in your body for reasons that you don't need that. It's going to create a fight or flight response in you, and you ain't even got nothing to fight against or run from, but you're going to feel like that because that's the energy that it creates. When you see other people, you see somebody getting beat up in the street, you don't even know why they're getting beat up, but you hear a crowd chanting something, whether you're a fan of it or you're against it, it disturbs the equilibrium. You don't need that. So do not go looking through. And I'm going to shout out Darby again, the person who inspired me to talk about this topic here. I'm not sure if she's even watching right now, but I'm sure she'll watch the replay. But when she DM'd me yesterday after my live, and she was asking me about mental health, she had sent me a couple of posts that she had watched some other people who were talking about things that went along the lines of the stuff that I was saying. She wasn't going against me. She was supporting me by showing me other stuff that other people posted on IG that supported the points that I had been making in my posts. And the first thing I said to her, because she was like, well, what do I do? Why are people doing this and that and these things that she was saying? And I said, when I saw all the posts that she was sending, the first thing I said is, why the hell are you following all these people? Where'd you get all these posts from? I didn't know any of these people even exist, but she knew about all of them. So it concerned me for her. And I think this is what happened to many of y'all, is that you are looking at so many different posts. You're watching every live stream that goes on, everyone who's talking about this, anyone who hashtags BLM or NBA or All Lives Matter. You're looking at all of them. Let's see what this person said. Let's see what they said. Let's read the comments on this. Let's look at this one. And then you're just flooding your mind with all of this stuff that's all showing you the same thing. People in conflict. That's all you're seeing. Conflict over here, conflict over here. This person got this to say. This person saying this. These people fighting in the comments. This person did this over here. These people going back and forth on Twitter. This YouTube video is telling you why they're wrong. This YouTube video is saying the exact opposite. All you're seeing is a whole lot of conflict. Now, if you fill your mind with nothing but conflicts, I don't care what the conflict is about and who's talking about what all day, even if the people you're listening to are only people that you support. Let's say you're a BLM and all you listen to all day is people giving you more reasons to support BLM, more reasons why cops are terrible, more reasons to defund the police, America's racist, oppression, Black Lives Matter, social justice. If that's all you follow, even if you agree with all of it, by the end of the day, you will have drained your psychic energy because all you are consuming is conflict. Now, you can't spend your whole day in conflict, even if the in conflict means just watching other people talk conflict. All right, that is not good energy. All right, everybody here agrees with the law of karma, right? That the energy you put out is the energy you get back. So what if you reverse that? That the energy you get back is the energy that you put out. So if you're spending your whole day taking in conflict energy, what kind of energy are you going to put out when you go out into the world? Can you take in conflict material all day on Instagram and social media and TV and then go give some positive energy to another person? No, you don't have any positive energy to give. All you got is what you've been taking in. If you eat candy and potato chips and drink soda all day, can you expect your body to perform at its best level the next morning when you need to go work out or you need to go play a sport or you're going for a bike ride or a jog? Of course not. If you put shit in your body, you're going to get a shit performance back. This is just the way that it works. If you go to the gas station, your car is out of gas, and you put water in the gas tank instead of putting gas in the gas tank, is that car going to perform the way you need it to perform? I don't care if it's a $250,000 sports car. That car is not going to perform simply because of the material you put in it. So this is the law of karma. It works both ways, ladies and gentlemen. So the energy that you put out is, of course, the energy you get back. But if you're taking in a whole bunch of conflict, you have no choice but to give conflict out because you don't have anything else. So this is why you got to be very careful about the material you are consuming on a day-to-day basis. It increases your anxiety. It disturbs your sleep. It will drive you up a wall. So here's what you do need to do. Because I also have said many times, even on these lives, I said, listen, you got to make sure you're taking in some information that doesn't go with everything that you agree with. Go listen to some reasonable, rational, logical people who may not agree with you, but they'll tell you why they don't agree with you in a way that they're not trying to be snarky, a way they're not trying to make you feel like you're dumb, in a way that they are being reasonable. And these people do exist. So if you want to consume material about anything that's going on right now, you need to choose 3 to 5 sources of information that you're going to take in from, and nothing else. Yes, you heard me. 3 to 5, no more. I mean total. So if you're a BLM supporter, you got your 3 BLM people, and then pick 2 people who are anti-BLM. They don't like BLM. And if you're the opposite side, you could do the exact same thing, just switch the numbers up. But that's it. You don't need to be following 50 people who are all posting BLM videos and posting videos of cops doing bad things to black people. All right, we know. All right, you don't need to do all that. You already got the information. You already formed your opinion. Stop taking in all that information. Stop taking in all this conflict. It is going to destroy you from within when you think you're just watching it. But no, it is destroying you from within, because that's all you're taking in. Point number 2. What we're talking about here today, for those who came in the middle of this, is mental health. How to maintain your mental health amidst all this civil unrest. Number 2 thing you got to do. Stop breaking your brain. Now, what do I mean when I say breaking your brain? Let me tell you some ways that your brain breaks, because I think some of you have been suffering from broken brains over the last, it's only been 90 days. Can y'all imagine it's only been 90 days since this whole shit popped off? You break your brain when let me tell you several ways that you break your brain. Trying to change another person's mind. If you are an all lives matter person, or somewhere on that side, and you meet a black lives matter person, or somebody who's somewhere close to that side, and y'all disagree, and then you engage in a conversation with this individual, trying to convince them why all lives matter instead of black lives matter, and they're not trying to hear it, and they're trying to convince you, and y'all are going back and forth. Both of you are going to break each other's brains. It's kind of like, you ever see a boxing match when both boxers punch each other at the same time? All right, that's y'all. All right, y'all just punching each other in the face at the same time. All right, you going to give yourself a concussion. They're going to have a concussion. Nobody wins. All right, y'all both lost. All right, it's going to be a draw in the end. Do not break your brain by trying to change another person's mind. People think how they think, and unfortunately, even though I have preached and talked about, I did a whole masterclass on this, which you can get at Work on Your Game University. I talked about you must keep your opinions flexible and keep your mind open enough that you're willing to change your opinions when you get new information and new experiences. And most of my audience understands that, but the majority of the people on the planet, 8 billion people on the planet, unfortunately my audience is not all 8 billion. So there are some people out here who are not willing to keep their opinions flexible. There's some people out here who have opinions, they have beliefs, they've hardened their opinions into beliefs. They are not willing to change them no matter what information they get. And if you try to change their minds, all you're going to do is break your own brain. It's kind of like trying to break down a brick wall by punching it. All right, eventually, you're not going to break the bricks. You're going to break your hand. Okay, that's what's going to happen. Eventually, your hand's going to break. The bricks are stronger than your bones. So stop trying to change other people's minds. That will break your brain. People are not flexible. Here's another way that you break your brain. Trying to force what you know or believe onto other people who do not know it or who do not believe it. Every one of us has friends who are just not very open-minded on certain subjects. They decided what they decided, even though it's illogical, even though it's irrational, even though you have made very clear, thought-out, logical points to them as to why what they think is wrong. They just brush it off, laugh it off, and don't want to hear anything you say and keep thinking the same way they've been thinking. Does everybody here know somebody like that? Of course, everybody knows somebody like that, and maybe somebody thinks that about you. We don't know. But we all know people who fit that description. Do not try to force information on people who do not want information. Most people do not want to be educated. Most people do not want to learn or improve or change in any way, shape, or form. They just want to be who they are and stay that way. Let them be. All right, even if they're your mom or your dad or your cousin or your best friend, let them be who they are. You will break your brain trying to change another person's mind. Stop it. It is an exercise in futility. It will not work. Let me tell you another way that you break your brain. Third way that people break their brains, and this is something that I'll shout the person who DM'd me yesterday who said this. They said, well, why do people start asking me all these why questions? Why are people doing this? And why are people doing this? And why are people doing that? She wasn't actually asking me for answers, but she was just saying it. Like she was venting. I don't understand why people are thinking this way. Why are people are saying this? Why, when the evidence shows this, people are saying the exact opposite and this and that. Have any of you had this issue? that you see certain evidence, you see certain information, and it's clear and objective and obvious to you, but then other people are seeing it, and they're just not seeing the same thing that you're seeing. And you're like going crazy. You're like, I don't understand. How can you not see this? It's right there in front of you. It's clear, it's objective, it's black and white. How are you not seeing this? I don't get it. Why? I want you to understand. Stop asking why, okay? Stop asking why, all right? It is human nature. All right, Michael Jackson had a song. Shout out to Michael Jackson. Rest in peace to Michael Jackson. He had a song called Human Nature. And on the hook, he said, why? And he said, it's human nature. That's the name of the song. So go look it up. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. Look up Human Nature by Michael Jackson. Just listen to the song so you understand why people are how they are. They are not going to change. It's just who they are. And I'm talking about people in general. Not just an individual person, but all people. It is human nature. Do not try to stop. I mean, if you went outside, you looked out your window right now and it started raining, would you go outside and try to stop the rain from falling out the sky? No, that'd be ridiculous. They take you to some mental institution if you tried that. They should do the same thing to any individual who tries to change other people's minds. It's the exact same as trying to stop the rain or trying to stop the sun from shining or trying to stop. In a couple hours, the sun is going to go down. It's going to be dark outside. If you try to keep the sun from going down and staying up so it would never get dark, they would take you to a mental institution and strap you into a chair. They need to do the same thing to anybody who tries to change another person's mind. Stop that. It is an exercise in futility. It will not work. It will only serve to break your brain. You won't change them, but you will break your own brain. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to maintain your mental health amongst all the civil unrest that we have going on in the world today. Third thing that you need to do is you need to, maybe I should tell you point number 4 before point number 3. Yeah, let me tell you point number 4 first. I should have put these in a different order. Number 4 is this. We'll just call this number 3, but then I'm just reordering in my mind. Number 3, check yourself. What I mean when I say check yourself, everything I've talked about so far, you need to check yourself for. But you also need to check yourself for a certain affliction. There's a mental affliction going on right now, and I'm gonna give a term to this. All right, I'm gonna name this term. It is called social justice derangement syndrome. SJDS. Social justice derangement syndrome. Can somebody post that in the comment section so that everybody can see it? And make sure it's all capitalized. Each first letter capitalized. Social justice derangement syndrome. What does this mean? Now, I borrowed this from when people say Trump derangement syndrome. People go crazy trying to find something negative or say something negative about Trump. They start calling it Trump derangement syndrome for the people who are like extreme haters of Trump. But we call this social justice derangement syndrome. And this is for people on all sides of the whole social justice conversation. This is for anyone. Let me tell you the symptoms of SJDS so you know if you have it or not, okay? If you find yourself giving way too much attention to every single thing being said about social justice, you probably have, thank you, Coffee the Great, social justice derangement syndrome. Yes, that's right. You capitalize the whole thing, but it's all good. That works just as well. If you find yourself, every time you read something that you agree with, and then you got to speak out a few sentences about it, confirming why you agree with it on Twitter. You're reading Twitter by yourself. You're like, yeah, that's right. That's because this. You might have social justice derangement syndrome. If you go on Instagram or YouTube or what's the other one, Twitter or TikTok, and you see somebody saying something that you disagree with, and then you can't even keep scrolling because you formulate an argument in your mind as to why they're wrong, and you find yourself arguing at the phone. Like you're talking to your phone, like, no, that's wrong because this, and you're arguing with a person that can't even see you on your phone. You probably have social justice derangement syndrome, okay? These are all symptoms of SJDS. You must cure yourself of giving too much attention to every single thing being said about social justice. Why? Because social justice is a hot topic, is a trending topic. Everybody's talking about it, and people are going to keep talking about it. You cannot allow yourself to get overwhelmed in the typhoon, the hurricane of social justice conversation. You can have an opinion. You can listen to people, whoever you want to listen to on the topic, but you also got to know when to turn it off. Or you got to know when to start and when to stop. Okay? Sometimes in life you can start things, but it's hard to stop doing them. Or you got to learn how to stop and catch yourself when you have SJDS. And I'm going to tell you how to fix it in a minute. All right, my 4th point is going to tell you how to fix social justice derangement syndrome. Understand something about social media, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason why when you get on Instagram and you scroll that it will just keep going. All right, you will never reach the end of your Instagram feed. Has anybody here ever got to the end of their Instagram feed? It's impossible. Okay, when you get to the end of your feed, I just read this in the email this morning. They said that Instagram's changing their algorithm so that no matter how many people you follow, when you scroll through the feed and you get through all the latest posts from whoever you follow, now they just start showing you other people that you don't even follow in the feed. It's just going to keep going. It's an endless feed. It never ends. Okay? You can't scroll fast enough to keep up with the amount of content being posted. On YouTube, does the feed ever end? No. On Facebook, does the feed end? No. On Twitter, the feed does end. That's the one place where the feed ends, on Twitter. But other than that, the feeds do not end. There's a reason why the feed doesn't end on any social media platform except Twitter, is because their whole job is to overwhelm you with so much content and information and things that give you that dopamine rush of something happening that you never want to get away from it. All right, you become like Pavlov's dog when the bell rings. All right, that's you on Twitter. That's you on Instagram. That's you looking at your notifications every 5 minutes on Facebook or in your email account. It is supposed to do that to you. That's the whole design. The whole purpose of social media, for those of y'all don't understand, let me give y'all a quick business lesson. Social media makes their money by having your attention. They suck all your attention away from your life and get you to give it to them. All right. Instagram makes their money by being able to tell advertisers, look how much time little Johnny spent on Instagram every day in the month of August. All right. That's how they make their money. They make their money by keeping you on the app. Facebook does the same thing. Twitter, well, they don't have a business model in place, but they will soon. They do the same thing. YouTube does the exact same thing. Their whole model is based on how much of your time can they suck away from you and get you to give to them. And when they can show how much time they have of yours, then they sell that time to advertisers. And that's why Facebook is worth, whatever, $100 billion, whatever the company is worth, because of their time. It is not because of anything else that they have going on. This is how they make their money. So you have to understand the game that you're in. And I'm not telling you not to use social media. I'm on all social media platforms, except TikTok. I'm on all of them. I use all of them every day. But understand, I use these platforms as a producer, not as a consumer. And I'm never scrolling through the feed. So if I follow you on any platform and you don't see me liking your stuff, it's not because I don't like you. It's because I just don't scroll through the feed. So if it doesn't come up at the top, I just don't see it because I'm not focused on what everybody else is doing. So even if you're not a producer or content creator, make sure you are not getting sucked into the matrix of allowing them to suck all of your life away from you. Remember that time is the most valuable asset that you own. Wherever you spend your time, make sure you are getting a return on investment. If you can't identify your return on investment, they are probably stealing your time from you and giving you nothing back in exchange. And they're getting rich off it. All right, Mark Zuckerberg got money. Google, they got money. Twitter, YouTube, they all got money because they sell people's time. You think these apps are free? They're not free. You think Instagram's free? They're taking your time from you. That's more valuable than any amount of money you ever had in your pocket. So you got to head off this affliction by following what I've already told you here. Respect your mental and emotional limitations. We all have them. And set yourself up for success by making sure you are not falling into this derangement syndrome, Sjds, by reacting to every single thing you see on social media. The same way that as if it's cold outside and it's wintertime, you're going to wear a coat, right? Because if you don't wear a coat, you can get away with it, but you might get sick. You might get a cold, so you're probably going to want to wear a coat and a hat and maybe gloves depending on where you're at. It's the same way with social justice derangement syndrome. You probably don't want to look at everything because you're not going to be able to ignore it all. If you see it, you can't unsee it. You read it, you can't unread it. So make sure you're not taking in everything because it will destroy your mind from the inside out. That's their whole job, is to keep you focused on what's going on in their app so they can sell your time, which is essentially your life, to advertisers. Can you imagine it? Just think about that. Facebook selling your life to advertisers. Is that what you want? I didn't think so. And now here's the last point. Point number 4. Topic here today is how to maintain your mental health amidst the civil unrest going on in America right now. Number 4 thing that you need to do is do things that allow you to relax. All right, learn how to relax again. Learn how to calm down. All right, learn how to unplug from everything that's going on so that you can just get back to yourself. You need some me time for your mind. Okay, that means off of Twitter, off Instagram, off Facebook, off YouTube, off whatever platform you've been spending your time on. Do things that allow you to relax. Things like meditate. There's an app called Headspace for meditation. There's an app called Calm for meditation. Both of them have guided meditation, so they can tell you what you can do, how to use it, all those things. You don't need a how-to for meditation. It's not a science. It's an art. It's just a practice, just like yoga. There's no right or wrong to it. So go on those apps and give yourself some space, some headspace. I think there's an app called, I said Headspace, right? Headspace, calm. You need those apps. Get that and meditate. Take a walk. Take a walk without looking at your phone. How about that one? Take a walk without looking at your phone. 20 minutes around your neighborhood or wherever you at, on a treadmill, don't matter. Walk up the steps. 20 minutes without looking at your phone. Just give yourself some space just to be with yourself, not doing anything, but moving your body. All right, those are all good things for you. Take a walk. Listen to some jazz or some R&B or some easy listening music. I don't know, whatever you like. Listen to some of that so that you can calm down. Go to the gym. Blow off steam. Understand that the human brain is a automatic deletion machine. If you don't know what that means, understand this is what it means. The human brain knows through your thoughts what are the most important things that matter to you in your life. All right, based on what you think, your brain knows what's important. All right, you care about the NBA. All right, so if something about the NBA comes up around you, you notice it because your brain is already, it's a reticular activating system. When you realize this is what you're focused on, anything around that is reflecting of that is going to notice it. It's like if you're in a really crowded space and there's a bunch of people talking and somebody calls out your name, you hear it. Why? Because your name is very important to you. You know your name, your brain knows your name. So if somebody says your name in a crowded room with 300 people, everybody's talking, and somebody says your name, you notice it amongst all that talking simply because your brain is focused and telling you that that's the most important thing. So what we're talking about here when we say that SJDS, social justice derangement syndrome, your human brain, when you keep focusing on these things, is going to keep noticing them. But when you stop focusing on them, it will start ignoring them. So the human brain notices the things that matter, and it deletes everything else going on. If y'all can see where I'm sitting right now, outside, I can see the road, and there's cars riding by both directions the whole time. There's condos across from me, and there's people on their balconies that I could be looking at. There's people in the pool over there. There's people in the cars over here. I'm not noticing all of that. I'm focused on this because this is the thing that's important to me. I'm not noticing anything else that's going on because I'm focused here. So my brain is only noticing what's going on here. I'm noticing any comments that's coming through. I'm noticing anything happening over here. I'm noticing the numbers. I'm noticing if a notification comes up and says you lost your connection. I'm noticing that because that's what I'm focused on. So in life, whatever you decide to focus on, your brain is like a magnet, is going to draw all those things to you. So if you focus on conflict, like I told you earlier, you're going to notice conflict everywhere. If you focus on positive, you're going to notice positive. If you focus on money, you're going to notice money. If you focus on a certain kind of car, you know when you go get a certain car or your friend gets a car, now everywhere you go, you notice that car, right? That's because your reticular activating system is activated for that certain thing. So you go get yourself a red Mercedes. Now everywhere you go, you notice that same Mercedes, not because it never existed before, but because now your brain knows that it matters to you. This is the way that it works in life. So make sure you are focusing on the things that you want because your brain will start to deliver those things to you and it will delete and ignore everything else. It's not that other things don't exist. It's just that you're not paying attention to them. It's like it's a person that you might have worked with, or they might live in your building, or they might be in your neighborhood, and you never noticed them for 5 years, but then one day you meet them and talk to them. Now you see them everywhere you go. They were always there. You just never noticed them because they weren't important to you because your brain never focused on it. This is the way that it works in life. If you notice everything happening around you, you will go crazy. And this is what's happening to people right now. This is the social justice derangement syndrome. You see how all this works? You go crazy when you cannot focus because you're noticing every single thing. It's birds flying by. I can notice everything that's going on. I would go crazy. But I'm able to focus because I have a brain just like you. And I've learned how to control that focus by focusing on what matters to me, making sure my brain understands what's important to me. This is part of mental conditioning. I talk about in my book, The Mental Workbook. I'll tell you how to get that in a minute. And this is how you can keep yourself away from the SJDS. You don't want to have social justice derangement syndrome. It will destroy you from the inside out. Now, all that being said, I just told you how to keep yourself safe from social justice derangement syndrome and manage and maintain and improve, believe it or not, your mental health during all the civil unrest that's going on right now. So I'm going to do 3 things right now. First of all, I'm going to tell you how to get these books right here for free. I'm going to tell you how to get this one for free and how you can make a special offer for this. Then I'm going to recap my points. Then I'm going to answer questions. So if somebody got a question, go ahead and post it in the comment section right now. Let me tell you about this book. This book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. Not the Mental Workbook. I got the Mental Workbook. I'll tell you about that in a minute. This is the first book of mine you should read if you've never read any of my books. I've written 27 books, so if you're wondering where to begin, this is where you begin. And I made this book free so that you don't have to pay for it. All you do is cover shipping. You get it at mirrormotivation.com. But before you do that, let me tell you why you want the book. You want this book, even though it's free, I still got to tell you why you want it. You want this book because in life, everybody knows that they want things. Everybody wants certain goals, certain outcomes. And most people understand. If you're listening to me, and I got a hat on that says work on your game, you understand you got to do some work to achieve things in life. Everybody gets that. Question most people never ask themselves, however, is who do I need to be? What type of person do I need to become in order to achieve my desired outcomes in life? This book will help you understand what type of person you need to become and how to become that person and how to remain that person so that you do what you need to do and get what you want to get out of life. And understand, that's not me telling you who you need to be. This is going to be you telling you who you need to be. That's why the book is called The Mirror of Motivation. It's not about Dre motivating you. It's about you motivating you and knowing exactly who you need to be so you don't even have to worry about getting motivated. How would that be? If you could just be locked in and focused every day and you don't even have to worry about motivation, would that help you? Then this book will help you. Get this at mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is already paid for. All you do is cover the shipping, mirrorofmotivation.com. Once you order that, on the next page, we're going to make you an offer for this book and one of my books called The Mental Workbook. That's your mental conditioning book. This is where I took my whole philosophy, condensed it down to 250 pages because the publisher asked me to only make it 250 pages. I could have made it 1,000. I made it 250. That's this book, Work on Your Game, my whole philosophy. So if you like what you just heard, imagine if I'm talking about that for 250 pages on a bunch of topics when it comes to sports, business, and life, and how you can apply the mental game tools that I use to get to the top 1% of sports, and how you can apply them in anything that you do. That is right here. That is on the next page after you get this. So go to mirrorofmotivation.com. You can get this on the next page. Now, I'm going to recap my points today really quickly. How to maintain your mental health amongst the madness. Number one thing, limit your exposure. Stop watching the news. Stop reading every Twitter feed. Do not respond to everything that you see. Number two, stop breaking your brain trying to change people's minds and stop wondering why people are how they are. It is human nature. Number three, check yourself for social justice derangement syndrome. You're giving too much attention to every single thing that somebody says, whether you agree or disagree, is overwhelming you. That's what it's supposed to do. Stop letting it overwhelm you by making sure that you don't allow yourself to get locked into those things. Their whole job of social media feed is to get you locked in on the subject. Don't let it happen to you. And number four, do things that allow you to relax. Meditate, take a walk, listen to some R&B, go to the gym. The human brain is an automatic deletion machine. Whatever you focus on, you will find and create more of. You focus on relaxation, you'll create more of it. You focus on conflict, you will create and draw conflict to you, and you will have no choice but to put conflict out, because whatever you take in, you must put out, and whatever you put out, you must take in. That's the way that the law of karma works. Everybody understands that. All that being said, now, if anybody has a question, go ahead and post it in the comments, or if you did already, I will address it. Wyatt Wentz over there on Facebook was good. Curtis Dewar was good. So you listen to the audiobook Mirror Motivation. That's what's up. Leave me a review, please, Curtis, after you listen to that audiobook on Amazon or Audible, wherever you listen to it at. We need those reviews. Andy from LA was good. Estonia and Russia. So we got people in Estonia and Russia at the same time. Just from Brooklyn was good. Lala from LA. All right, let's see if we got any questions here. Mozart Gates, K Villalobos. Shout out to K Villalobos. Appreciate you. Leche Royale was good. Appreciate you. K Villalobos say you're speaking the truth. Appreciate that. Leche Royale, appreciate you. Say GTG, no signal in Walmart. You in Walmart. That's what's up. Antonio 2257. I don't have an NBA team. I like the NBA, but I don't have a team. I just watch. I mean, I'm from Philly, so I want the Sixers to be good, but they already got swept out the first round, so it's already a wrap for them. Andy 91282. That's at WOYFG.com. WOYFG.com. You can sign up. That is where I'm going to be talking to people who I just want to find out how I can best help people moving forward when it comes to our offers, products, and services. So, yes, Andy, 91282, that's WOYFG.com. That's where you can sign up to be interviewed by me. Just a 20-minute Zoom interview. All right, I think I've addressed, well, nobody else had a question. I appreciate you, Curtis. All right, so everybody, I do these lives every day. The topic is always different. Sometimes it's a current event, like what we've been talking about the last couple of days. Sometimes it's not a current event. It's more of an evergreen topic. It's my business philosophy. Work on your game is about discipline, confidence, mental toughness, and personal initiative. So today, this is really about discipline, what we've been talking about here today. So sometimes it's an evergreen topic that we could talk about anytime, and sometimes it's something that's happening right now, like this BLM, and when the election comes, we're going to be talking about that. I don't know how. It depends on what happens. But we will talk about those things. For those of y'all who don't know me, I talk about any subject. I will talk about any topic. But I'm also open-minded on these topics. And even if I'm not agreeing with certain things that are going on, I'm going to make a case for why. So even if you don't agree with me, you'll understand why I feel the way that I feel. We ain't got to agree, but you will understand that I'm making a coherent point. I'm not just throwing stuff out there just to say it. All that being said, we have completed this conversation. I see Darby came in here. Darby, I did this whole conversation because you recommended it yesterday when you DM'd me. I just did the whole thing. You missed it. So now you got to watch the replay again. Now, you asked me for the time. I posted it, and you wasn't here. So you're going to have to catch that replay. But we will do these lives, like I said, every single day. I will usually post the time ahead of time when I'm going to go live. But it's usually around 5-ish. On the weekends, it'll be different. Saturdays and Sundays is different sometimes. So everybody stay tuned. Just follow me on my story on IG. And I will tell y'all what we talking about here. So y'all will know ahead of time what time. Y'all know what we talking about. And again, mirrorofmotivation.com. Claim your free copy of this book. If you would like to be interviewed by me, you've been in my audience, and you want to help me understand how I can best help and serve my audience moving forward when it comes to our products, our services, our content, our offers, go to woyfg.com. That's woyfg.com. For those of you who know what that stands for, it stands for workonyourfuckinggame.com. Workonyourfuckinggame.com, but just the letters, woyfg.com. Sign up for that call. It's a free 20-minute call. You'll be talking to me one-on-one live on video, on Zoom. I'm going to ask the questions. All you got to do is show up and answer the questions. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything else. Just answer my questions, and there's a wrap. Everybody, have a great Friday. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands for at least 20 minutes with soap and water. Y'all know what it is. Somebody says it worth seeing a psychologist. All these steps you mentioned good enough. Well, if you feel like you need more than what I just talked about, you should go see one and just see what they're talking about. I'm not qualified to really answer that question. But everybody have a great Friday. Work on your game. We out of here. Dre all day.